Hi everyone, and welcome to a very new episode of the Resident Rulebreakers. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
And yes, you're not hearing things. We are back.
After a 1 year hiatus.
Yes, after 1 year hiatus, we are back. You're not seeing things. There is an update. First and foremost, I want to admit that this hiatus from the podcast was my fault. I do and have been for the past year working, I was working a retail job that was giving me 25 hours a week. And then I got a full-time job on top of it, and I started working 7 days a week. But the coronavirus has stalled some of that. So, we're back, and with everything that's happening in the Facebook group that we both admin, called the Resident Fox Fans, we thought that the podcast coming back would be a very good idea for everyone, to help us, to help everyone in the group, everyone that subscribes to the podcast, to cope with this hiatus of unknown certainty that we have hanging above our heads for the Resident. Because we don't know when the show is coming back, if it's coming back. I will say that we believe it's coming back. We do believe that Renewal will happen. The creators, Amy Holden-Jones, thinks it's going to get renewed. So we have to believe in that scenario. And the ratings were well in the range of Renewal, but we don't know when the show is coming back at all because of the coronavirus. So that's one.
Yeah, they're all productions are halted.
They can't film at all. They can't even go into the writers' room. They film in the state of Georgia, which is also where the show is based. But as a South Carolinian, I get a lot of news from Georgia, and I can say that the governor of Georgia, his name's Brian Kemp, he said that the curve in Georgia is behind where everyone else is, but Georgia got hit really hard. And a lot of it's because of Atlanta being an airport hub and everything else. It's got one of the largest airports in the United States, and so there's that. But as of Monday, it is certainly a day I am ready for. But I think today, specifically, we have been focused on the surge capacity, ramping up testing, and then to do more than we're doing. So testing is going to be priority before they can do any type of reopening in the state of Georgia. It's one of those things where the coronavirus is going to dictate everything. And my prediction, honestly, was if we got a delayed production restart, and once we get renewed, that we might get a delayed start date in 2021, which would be January. That was my original prediction. I don't know if we can stick to that scenario, but that was my original prediction. It just depends on where things go. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Todd Harton, who is one of the EPs of The Resident, he did 2 interviews. They released the same day of the season 3 finale. And they were very eye-opening, very hopeful, and very positive, talking about some things that we wanted to see in season 4, like the Conic wedding, Irving and Jess's wedding, some other things with the Raptor and his family, Raptor and Mina, Belle, just a lot of other things. So those interviews, one was on TV Line, and the other one was on TV Insider. They're both in the Resident Fox Fans group somewhere, buried in the gist of everything. So they're really good. They're really good interviews, and I really think if you're a Resident fan, they'll definitely help you cope with this.
Yeah, he pretty much said that, like, there was more to season 3 that they can't show because of the shutdown, but they kind of pre-filmed a lot of things, and they pieced it together to make the season 3 finale cohesive and sort of feel like a finale. Which, good job to the post-production people for trying to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we were short 3 episodes, and they pieced it together. And yeah, the chief complaint that we saw was it didn't feel like a finale, and it wasn't going to because it was never meant to be one.
Yeah.
It was never meant to be one, and...
No. I remember when I think it was either Timothy or Amy was posting pictures of them editing the finale or whatever. So I asked them, I was like, is it gonna feel like there's an ending, like an ending to storylines or whatever? And they said, yeah. I don't think so, but then again, like you said, they couldn't finish it all the way because there was more to say and stuff. But I mean, that's pretty much with all the shows. Every show they have,
And
with
speaking of the reality, a lot of people gave them slack for The Resident for referencing the coronavirus. But
yeah, what a lot of people don't understand is there's a thing called what is that called? Dubbing.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to the studio and they have to do sound, a lot of times when you're filming, the words that the actors are saying are muffled. So they go back to the studio and kind of make the sound more clearer. You know what I mean? Like when they go to the when they have the masks on in the OR, the sound comes out weird when it's filming. So they have to go back to the studio and talk over it or whatever, dubbing. So that's what they probably did is originally in filming, they didn't say it. They didn't say coronavirus, but when Manish, I think, was the one who said that, right? Coronavirus? Or was it Kim?
In 320, Manish did a scene as Devin that he said, he said, dude, this isn't the coronavirus, it's not airborne. But I think they were just really trying to differentiate Candida from Corona.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that line was probably dubbed post-production. It wasn't actually part of the script originally. It wasn't probably there on, while they were filming. But when Manish went back to the studio, they asked him to say that. You know what I mean?
But there's also a scene in, I think, 319 where Morris Chestnut, his character, says, I'm just glad this isn't coronavirus or something like that.
Which, again, is going to the studio and dubbing it,
Mm-hmm. I really think they were just trying to make a differentiation in between the superbug that they had in the show and this horrible, horrible virus.
Yeah, well, the thing, a lot of people were, including myself, were thinking that Candida auris was like coronavirus, where it was airborne and everybody in the hospital was going to be dying, and the patient's family or whatever was in danger or whatever. But because of the research and the CDC article that I found about it, I realized that it's not airborne. It was the only way to get it is if you shared equipment with a patient who has Candida auris, which obviously we found out that Derek did. He had the same vent. But yeah, it wasn't everybody in the hospital was in danger. It was more like all the people who would be sharing this equipment is the one who's in danger, because it was a intravenous, that kind of thing. But yeah.
So there's that, and I really do believe that was why they did it. They didn't want people to think it was an airborne thing.
Yeah.
Coming up, before we go into our main topic on the podcast, I do want to mention that April 18th was Jane's birthday. So happy belated birthday, Jane. Jane is obviously Kit Voss. She was 59.
Just good for 59.
Yes. And then Glenn Morshower, who plays Marshall, Conrad's dad. His birthday is the 24th, so next week. Next Friday? Our main topic of this podcast is the pilot. We're going back to where it all started. And
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
When did it originally air?
January 2018. Right after
So it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, right after the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. January 21st, 2018.
Yep.
Yep. Man, it's been 2 years. Really?
The very first scene, like, if you first tune into the show and you've only heard about certain things, the very first scene, you go, what just happened?
Yeah. That was funny. And for those who don't remember, that was the iconic appendix scene where, like, they were taking selfies and Belle still had a shaky hand. I guess, I know a lot of people have been asking what happened to Belle's shaky hand and her dad and everything else. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah, we'll deal.
A whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast altogether. We can do a whole podcast on Belle's character development. Oh my god.
Yeah, Belle's like shaky hand deserves a whole nother podcast. So for those who don't remember, it was the appendicitis scene or whatever, so he was taking out the appendix, I'm assuming, and like he still had a shaky hand, and everybody in the OR, shout out to Jessica and Vince Young, who was, I think, the only people in that OR scene who's still on the resident 2 years later.
Yeah, so you still see them pop in. I mean, Jessica obviously has a storyline, you know.
Yeah, and Vincent, you still see him every now and then as the anesthesiologist. But yeah, those three, Belle, Jess, and Vince, are the only ones from that OR scene that's still on the resident now. But anyway, yeah, they were taking selfies, and Belle's shaky hand cut an artery, and the guy bled out of the table, and he blackmailed everyone to shut up about how it happened.
Pretty much. I mean, like, taking selfies during a surgery. Okay, first off, if they hadn't deleted the photos, isn't that like a big HIPAA violation?
Well, you know what's so funny is one of the actors who was the one who in that scene was taking selfies actually posted those selfies on Instagram, like, oh, this is what we were actually taking pictures of. It was funny but yeah, man, so many years has happened since that scene.
And, you know, I was watching an interview, it was really more recent, of Matt talking about that scene, and he said, you know, the first scene of the pilot, you know, it really resounded with him because he had a friend that died from a medical error. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the reasons he took on Conrad.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, you know, that scene resonates with so many people with the medical error thing. And then Nick goes in, and the storyline with her mom started in the pilot.
Yep.
But we're gonna get into that. But I do want to mention that there's consistency to this plotline. But
it's so funny though, is that I think even now, subconsciously, a lot of people still recall that first scene, because even now when Belle is a much better person and is doing good things and, you know, thinking about the patient, and also his hand is better, people are still like doubting his sincerity or whatever with his actions, you know, like even for myself, I'm like, oh, you know, he's probably not gonna take the fall for that, you know, like season 3 when he had the supplements storyline, that they thought was like killing people or whatever. You know, a lot of us were like doubting that he was going to actually take the fall for it. You know, we thought that he was going to throw them under the bus. But, yeah, because it was that scene of him like blackmailing the people and, you know, being this evil character or whatever. It still resonates with us, you know?
Yeah, because he was so
bad.
Evil for so long, like a good season and a half before we got any development on this.
I mean, did he like threaten Minna in the pilot
with her visa.
Deportation?
Yeah, with her
or
visa.
Something.
Yeah, and you know they don't bring that up anymore. But how is Minna still around? You know, did she get her visa? You know, she doesn't really talk about the visa issue anymore. So that would be interesting to see her navigate that. But the thing I miss the most is seeing Bell in charge, seeing him be chief of surgery, seeing him have, obviously him being a leader. I mean, he's still a leader, obviously, but he has no title, no fancy office, nothing like that anymore. And so I that part of the pilot I missed.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, I don't remember what episode of season 3, but remember when he was like, they cut him out of the OR because of TV tapings or whatever. He was like getting itchy and begging AJ to let him in the OR.
Speaking of AJ, he's obviously absent from this episode.
I know.
AJ doesn't come in till 1:12.
The Raptor, can you imagine what AJ would have said to Belle after that appendicitis scene? Like, if he was there, can you imagine what he would have said? That would have been a perfect AJ moment.
Yeah, that would have been a way to introduce him, especially the early AJ stuff. That would have been a way to introduce him. When we first see Conrad,
he was riding the bike.
Yeah, he was riding a bike. But the thing that made me go, I like this dude, and like I love Matt. Period. Like, the reason I started watching the show was Matt Zuckery. Okay, I've been a Matt fan.
I think that's most people.
Yeah, I've been a Matt fan since Gilmore Girls. But I will say that when I first saw his first scene and he tells the guy off for parking in a handicap spot, I was just like,
he poured the alcohol. He poured the, what was it?
Energy drink.
Like some kind of energy drink. Yep, in the handicap spot. I remembered. I was like, yay! I like this dude already, because as a person who has a disability and who struggles a lot of times with like fakers who park on handicapped spots, and I'm not talking about fakers who are truly handicapped and have the handicap sticker. I'm talking about fakers who don't have a handicap sticker and it's just parked there. I want to pour a lot worse than energy drinks in their car. You know what I mean?
I do. I don't have a physical disability myself. I have a neurological disorder. So,
yeah.
But I will say this. I've dealt with it enough with other family members to go, yeah, this is, it made me go, yeah. Because I dealt with it with my grandma. She was completely disabled. And so, yeah, I've definitely be like, don't take something for someone that needs it. So.
Yeah.
I don't even use a handicap stall in the bathroom because I don't need it.
I know.
It's just like, if I don't need it, why not? I mean, it's just not something you do. So, but yeah, that was spot on for me. Then the next scene introduces Devin, and he's with Bria. And obviously Priya's been gone since 2/9.
I know, I feel so bad for her. I still feel bad about that. First of all, she looked absolutely beautiful in her wedding outfit, with the ring on her nose and the veil and everything. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I still feel so bad for the wedding being called off. But
and there's actually a post in the group, the Resident Fox fans, with the Bollywood dance. And the comment I made was, this is the scene that made me realize where they were going.
Yeah.
This was the episode that made me realize where they're going, and that's 2-7. Because he kisses Julian, and then he dances. They have the Bollywood dance, which is supposed to be the wedding dance. I'm just like, I don't understand. But whatever. But yeah, that episode made me go, this is where they're going, and that's where they went. So I do feel bad for Priya. But I can't say that when I watched this scene, I felt anything for that relationship anymore. Yeah. It's been so long that I don't feel anything for Devin and Priya anymore. Originally I did. Now I don't. So things change in 2 years. I mean, it's been a while. So
yeah, yeah. I remember one time, I think it was on Twitter, Manish was hosting a Q&A or whatever. And this is like further into season 1. And we had seen of Priya and Devon at that point was them in the bedroom. So my question for Manish was like, are we ever going to see Devon and Priya in clothes and out of the bedroom? And Manish replied to me laughing, saying, yes, you'll see us in clothes. So funny in this season. One thing that was awesome, and I think I read this before too, one of Manish's earlier interviews about the Resident, is that he appreciated the fact that he showed his character has a sexual side. You know what I mean?
I do.
Because a lot of times with East Asian characters or whatever, they're very prim and proper on television. You don't see them in a bedroom or anything like that. So that's one thing he did appreciate about his character, Devon, how it was written and stuff.
And because we haven't just seen Devon with Priya, we saw him with Julian.
Yes.
We didn't really see that romance with the princess as much, but we did see them kissing and, some form of romance. And so the fact that they, take that level, I wish Devon could just find a permanent love interest. I don't like the I'm ready for him to find something. I'm sorry. I just am. I want him to find love.
Maybe we should maybe his wife is gorgeous. His real life wife is absolutely gorgeous. So maybe he could have her on the show. I don't know if she's an actress. She probably isn't, but.
But when Devon arrives at the hospital, you see in the background, you see Belle on the billboard, and now the poster boy is obviously Kane. So I was sitting there thinking, will Belle ever get back to where he was, at least in terms of title and, certain things, as he was in the pilot, not in terms of his character, obviously. Obviously, he's grown from there. Will Bell ever get his CEO and Chief of Surgery titles back? Will he ever be on the poster boy again? Will he do that again? Or will he just say, I'm enjoying this, not having to deal with all that crap? But he is a TV doctor now, so maybe Conrad can twist this to Belle's advantage. I don't know. when Conrad, we're going to discuss this in a later podcast, but obviously Conrad will obviously be something that we'll have to work out with between him and Bell, but my hope is Bell gets at least his, the CEO title back. Because it's better with Bell in charge.
I just want Kim gone.
Agreed.
So if that means that Bell has to be a CEO again, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But
when Conrad and Devin meet in the pilot,
yeah,
Conrad, a lot of people have said Conrad's a jerk to Devin. He's an asshole.
He was.
And he is. He really was. He actually tells him, try not to be a dick. And then he actually...
I got a lot of hate.
He also told Devin Namaste, which is... I don't know if they meant it to be a racist thing or what, but, that's assuming. Way too assuming. Just because he's Indian.
He was like, a lot of things that, what's his name, said. I took issue with. Even, I obviously didn't take issue with it for first time I saw it, but the second or third time that I've seen it, the pilot, a lot of things that Conrad said, was racist, or had racist undertones anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The scene that I had issue with was when he went into the PT room or whatever and was I told Devin, hey, do you like, them chocolate, or do you like them, all these things, and I was just sitting there
that is so objective. He was objectifying women and, obviously being racist too. So that's not the Conrad we know. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad he's changed, but that was just, I was like, wow. This is not the character I fell in love with. If this isn't the same character, I don't think I would have liked the show too much. I'm glad they changed him.
Yeah, but it was like, what the hell are you trying to do? Why would you, and then he brought up, he assumed, wrongly, that Devon only got to be a doctor because of affirmative action or whatever. And I was sitting there going, wow. Who's the villain of the show again?
I mean, seriously, he went to Yale and then went to medical school at Harvard to get into Yale and then get into Harvard Medical School. You really have to have a brain.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I think a lot of people, to be honest, a lot of people overlooked a lot of these things, mostly because Matt is cute. And they wanted the show to be successful. So, I remember when the pilot first came out, a lot of reviewers on Twitter mentioned, Conrad being a racist butthole. And
a lot of stuff that came out when the pilot came out was negative. Very negative.
Yes. Especially about the appendicitis scene.
Yeah, and I wrote a review too about the pilot. That mine wasn't so harsh and negative. Okay, I should probably show that link to people. But the thing is, I don't. If they hadn't changed the character so much within a couple episodes, I don't think the show would have survived it.
Yep.
Because obviously the pilot is filmed way in advance of any other episodes.
Yes, months in advance. Almost a year.
Yeah. So.
Stuff.
But
it's watching it again. It's like, what the F are the writers thinking? Do you really want us to hate this guy? That is not a good impression.
No. But, I think I wrote something here that says, why was Conrad such a jerk to Devin? Did Conrad just soften up, or did they just make sure that wasn't there anymore so the show could survive? I mean, there's a lot of questions that, you go back to this episode and you're like, I'm glad this changed. Because obviously their perception of this character changed.
Yeah.
And then when they're taking care of Devin's first character, and Conrad's like, just stick his finger up his ass. I'm like, God, you don't have to be so harsh on this guy. He's just out of medical school.
Oh my God. That was actually one of my favorite. That was the scene that I laughed so hard at. And the poor guy is just sitting there going,
He can't even speak English.
I know.
Poor guy.
So funny.
And then Devin meets Nick. We meet Nick. We all meet her together with Devin. And the moment Devin starts complaining about Conrad, Nick's like, you got Conrad. She knew. Of course, obviously they've been together by this point. So,
yep.
And we're going to get into Connick in a moment, but I just want to say that her explanation is like early Conrad to a T. She's like, he tightens the bolts. And that's still Conrad to this day.
He's rude. He's an asshole.
I think a lot of that may be because they broke up. But, he was a jerk because he lost the love of his life. But whatever. Conrad was going through a lot of crap. I'll admit to that. You watch 2, 3, I think, and you're like, oh, now I see why he is the way he was. But, yeah. But, he tightens the bolt. And, yeah, that is Conrad. That is what he does. He tightens the bolt. He makes sure that people get the health care they deserve no matter what. Yeah, make sure that they get diagnosed properly. That's his job. Even he said in the season 3 finale, he's like, I'm an internist. I diagnose people. I don't make a lot of money. He did it because, he wants to help people, not because he wants to make money. And I think that's probably the biggest redeeming quality of Conrad. One of the biggest redeeming qualities of Conrad we have. Other than, compared to, like, Dahl or Kane or, Logan Kim, who's not even a doctor, but he's in it for the money. So, or Lady Hunter. They're her in there. But she was in it for the money.
Yeah.
And then Conrad's on Tinder. I'm like, poor dude. And then he sees Nick.
So is Nick. Nick had that picture on there.
Yeah, but
Do you remember if did he swipe right or left?
I don't know. I didn't look. But the fact is, he's like, I took the photo. What the crap? But, the pilot makes me wonder, and because they don't really give the answer.
And then a shout out to Tasso, who was on the pilot.
Mm-hmm. Tasso's been there since the beginning.
Still, yeah, that was awesome. It's so great that the resident is still using the same actors from the pilot,
Mm-hmm. We've had Irving from the get-go, and Tasso is in most episodes. There's very few episodes he's not in. I mean, it's really rare that you go when you notice when Irving's not around. Okay, I will say that. When Irving's not in an episode, I'm like, where's Tasso? But yeah, the Tinder scene makes me wonder how close was that breakup, because 2, 3 doesn't really give you any answers as to how recent that breakup was from the pilot.
Yep.
So I want that answered. That is my biggest question to date about Conrad and Nick, even though they're engaged to be married now. I want to know this backstory and where this gap is. I want it filled. Because that really would explain a lot. If you know what I mean.
Yep.
But Irving comes in and talks to Conrad about his patient, and he gives him a lupus diagnosis. Lupus is one of the things that on House They never diagnosed first. So I don't know whether that was a throw out to that show, to House, which is also a former Fox medical drama, but I don't know. But it was one of the shows I used to watch when I was a lot younger. So. But I just wanted to say, yeah, lupus was the first thing Conrad diagnosed on the show.
Yep.
And then there's the conic scene. That's hot and steamy conic scene.
Yes. With Matt shirtless, and you see his tattoos.
Yeah, I don't know where the tats came from.
And his pants down.
Yeah.
All he had on was boxers.
Yeah, I don't know whose idea it was for the tattoos. The makeup artist, the creator, Amy, Russian. I don't know whose idea that was, but now it's such a part of his character. When he's shirtless, you see his tattoo. Obviously, it's fake because Matt Zuckery doesn't have any tattoos. I can blatantly tell you that one. As a Matt fan, I can promise you he doesn't. But
that was a fake. That was all fake.
It's all makeup. But I love how Nick's just like, tricks him, and he's like, Nick, come back here, Nick. Oh, poor Conrad. He gets locked in his own call room.
For us fans, we're grateful.
We're grateful because we get to see a very shirtless Matt Zuckery. Thank you, Matt.
I know.
We love you.
Well, let's just say that it gave the writers pretty much knew what a lot of fans would need to keep watching.
Hey, when every show I've ever seen with Matt in it, whether it be Gilmore Girls or The Good Wife or The Resident, when he's shirtless, you can promise I am watching it. Then we get to Mina.
Yes. You want to talk about character development? I still think that first scene where she was telling people their patient's diagnosis or prognosis or whatever, so then she goes, Robert died or something like that. It's so Minna. It's so that is so Minna.
Mm-hmm. She comes in way into the pilot, but when she comes in and she's just so blunt, she's just like, you're like, wow, this is, this character, I want to know more about her. But yeah, character development on Mina is amazing.
Yep.
It's just like, wow. Because, now she's showing emotion. She's, obviously we think she's
caring about the patients.
Yeah, caring about the patients. She's, obviously she's got some type of affection for AJ. She's got a goddaughter that she loves. We've seen her deal with having, friendships and loss and everything else. So I think, dealing with her mother, a lot of this is developed Mina in so many amazing ways. And I really can't wait to see what happens to her. But yeah, her scene in the pilot where she gives the death notice. I'm just like, Mina, funny. That's not how that's supposed to work.
Amy actually said that when they had they showed it to like a test audience or whatever, that scene had the most reaction. Like everybody laughed at that scene or whatever. Yeah, she commented on it when we were that. I guess they showed the pilot to a test audience, like a small audience or whatever. And yeah, they had the most reaction on that scene from the test people. I love Minna. Minna, in my opinion, can do no wrong. She's like awesome and stuff. But the other scene that I laughed, that's when they did the Hand of God, right?
The Hodad
the machine.
Scene.
The machine.
The Titian. The robot.
The what?
The robot.
Yeah, the robot. And he had. Well, remember what was that? Was that an apple or was that a
plum
or something?
I think it was supposed to simulate a prostate, which they did well with that. So.
Yes, and I remember that the thing that I laughed at the most was when Belle was practicing it or whatever, so he kept doing it wrong, and so finally the machine like pummeled the plum, and he's like, "What the hell?"
I sat there thinking to myself, at least it's not a person.
Yeah. Or his nuts.
Yeah. Or yeah. Yeah, that would be bad.
But you know, the ending scene obviously is when they see the lab surgery or something like that, and they're broadcasting it, and the Conrad is like, "That's not Belle," right?
Conrad knew it was Mina the whole time. He's like, this is just, Belle doesn't know how to manhandle this thing. Not like that. So, I just like, kind of just looked in and went, oh, it's Mina. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously not even close to Belle, but Belle is like, obviously taking credit for it.
Which is, the old Belle, yes. New Belle, I don't think New Belle would pull this stunt. If he knew he had a problem, he probably would have said something. He's got a lot of development on him now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know if he would actually have said, my hands are really shaky. I don't think I can do this, But we'll see. I definitely think development is in place for that. The other character that's in season 1, that's Violet Bean. Yeah, Violet Bean. I know her from The Flash. She was on God Friended Me until it got canceled.
Yeah, it just got canceled last week or something.
But she played Lily. And Lily, if you've seen season 1, then your heart will shatter. But her let's just say my heart cried. Like, I literally bawl my eyeballs out every time I watch that episode. But seeing the start of it, and you're like, wow, her fiance is a jackass. He just disappears, Like, if you're going to be married...
And it was only there for, that one episode.
And, I was like, if you were going to commit yourself to someone, it doesn't matter what goes on, you're there. So yeah, he obviously wasn't committed. What a jerk. So, but, I really was like, wow. So with Lily, it's just, my heart breaks, seeing her, get left. But, every time I see an early episode, it's like, oh yeah, Lily, she did crash in the episode. She actually did crash in the hospital.
Yep.
On Devin's watch.
Yep.
He did save her. So I think Conrad said Devin does a central line, and Conrad tells him he loses his virginity.
Oh yeah, the central line scene is.
So yeah, there's all that stuff, but yeah, with Chloe, that's her name, the girl that was the drug addict that became Devin's first brain dead patient. Obviously, as you watch the show, Chloe's plot line actually does good. I think her heart went to Micah.
Yep.
So Micah, who obviously dated Mina for a while, proposed to Mina, even. So obviously that is more, but so yeah, Micah benefited from this, but obviously Chloe did not. So, but yeah, that plot line is obviously a wake-up call for Devin. And obviously, there's two things. At the very end of the episode, you see when Conrad pulls out his wallet. You see a picture of him from when he was in Afghanistan.
Yep.
And that in the pilot, it's really only truly hinted that he's a former military guy. And,
yep.
Then he tells Devin about Annabelle, and that he actually has a tat on one of his wrists with that name, and it's a reminder to say, this is not what you need, this is a reminder of something you don't do.
Yep.
And you can see it sometimes when his watch rides up or something. I think it's...
Yep.
So...
Annabelle.
The thing about Conrad's military background, obviously they touched on it in season 1, but I really...
With Jude.
With Jude. Yeah, who's played by, obviously, Lauren Christie, but I would love to see them touch on flashbacks of something of him in the military. I think Matt was really interested in it, so so that would be interesting to see them touch on how he got in the military from whatever Marshall did to his mother's death, because obviously all that triggers something.
There's a lot of things that the show has mentioned so far that they dropped the ball on it.
Mm-hmm.
It really gets me mad because, for me, the thing that I want to know more about is season 2. Marshall said I guess Conrad implied to Marshall that he was abusive to the mom or whatever, because, Marshall's like, I never hit your mom or anything. But there's obviously a story there. And I'm like, but they never mentioned it again. We don't know what happened to his mom. We don't know, anything.
Obviously, for Conrad to believe it, there had to be something there.
Right. But it was never mentioned again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I need more of Conrad's backstory with Marshall, with his mom, and how she died. Obviously.
Yep. But again, like I said, they dropped the ball on it. There was no continuance with that story at all.
So well, obviously, I said before, we're probably going to do a whole podcast on things we want for season 4.
If we get it.
If we get it. But the other thing I had here, Nick. With Nick's mom, that scene was set up, her with her mom's death, it was set up in the pilot. And it was a medical error, and that's why Nick's a nurse practitioner. I really want to say that Nick's not, she's not an RN, she is an NP. And NPs have a little bit more responsibility than an RN.
Yep.
So she is definitely got a little bit more responsibility on her, and she's got a little bit more education. So I just want to distinguish the difference for people. So she, but yeah, they brought that up, and then they obviously, they somewhat wrote about it in season 2 with everything that happened with Kyle, in season 3 even, with Kyle and Jesse and all that, and how they, I would love to see more of, even like their Nick, Jesse, Kyle early years. Even, I'd love to see more of that, but, I loved how they, definitely continuity on that, so. And the last scene where Conrad's in the coat, which, by the way, Conrad has not worn a white coat until more recently.
Season 3.
In season 3, only because he's the chief resident now. But as he was in, just a resident, he never wore the coat, except in the pilot. And I'm sitting here going, okay, why would he? I mean, obviously the scenes are taped out of order. It's taped way premature of anything else. So I get that they were going somewhere with it, but and then they dropped it. But that scene makes me go, were they going somewhere with his character that was on the dark side? he was just like, he looked almost evil. I know there was a premise originally where the character was supposed to be a sociopath or a psychopath or something, and they changed it, so I don't know.
Whoa.
That's all I know. And they changed it, so it was like, maybe, but, I don't know. And then Nick obviously kept us from turning off the life support machine, so I'm like, I don't know why Conrad would do that. His character just, I don't know. There were so many inconsistencies from the character we know today. The character that they, even in 1, 2, the character's beginning to change.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, for me, that final scene, now that I know what I know about this show and I know what I know about the character, I'm like, that's not Conrad. That just doesn't make sense. So it kind of felt off to me. For next week, because yes, we are doing this weekly again. Yay! For next week, we are actually, and we've discussed the season 3 finale in this podcast. We have. But we actually are going to go and do a deep dive on the season 3 finale, which was called Burn It All Down. And discuss it and,
I'm not gonna lie, I have not seen the season 3 finale yet.
You haven't?
No, I have not. I've been so busy. It's like, I even forgot, the day that it aired, I forgot that it aired on that day. Okay. I mean, this is, I guess, a symptom of self-quarantine or COVID-19 or whatever, where, like, you don't keep track of the days.
So, the podcast is a good thing. It allows us to just talk to each other, because just so y'all are aware, obviously, Camille's in Hawaii, I'm in South Carolina. We are extremely socially distant from each other. We're in different time zones. So
there's a whole landmass ocean between us.
Absolutely.
It's 6 hours time difference.
Yep. We're excited to be able to do this for us and to do this for y'all, because obviously we had a lot of people when I announced that we were going to go back and bring it back. People were happy, and
there's a lot of fake Instagram accounts for the actors, and a lot of them for also even their wife. Like this. Okay, so I want to take this time a little bit to just tell you guys the official counts for the actors. First of all,
Matt doesn't have one.
Yes, Matt does not have social media. Don't ask me where's Matt's account, or is so-and-so Matt, or whatever. Matt does not have one. Matt has no intention of having one. Matt doesn't want one. He's a very private person. He does not want it. He does not. And I respect that. Number 2, okay, so blue check marks. Everybody, if the account does not have a blue check mark, do not follow it. Do not assume that it is the actor. Even if they claim to be the actor, it is not the actor. So Madisdayal, his Instagram account is Madisdayal. Emily Van Camp, it's Emily Van Camp. Tassa Feldman is Tassa Feldman. Anyway, but yeah, no, the actors' official accounts all have blue check marks. But there are exceptions. Bruce Greenwood just started his Instagram account, and he posted a video that said that it would take him another month to get the official blue check mark. But at official Bruce Greenwood, no capital letters, no like underline, no dots, no nothing. Official Bruce Greenwood, that is his account. That is his official account. That's the only account that Bruce Greenwood has. Yeah. And then the other exception is Jay Leeves. Jay Leeves has an Instagram account. It does not have a blue check mark. I don't know why she doesn't have a blue check mark, but her account is official Jay Leeves. Official Jane, and then her last name, Leeves. Leeves. There's no period, there's no underline or anything like that.
All the main cast of The Resident has an Instagram account except for Matt Zuckery.
Yeah.
Morris Chestnut is just Morris Chestnut.
Morris Chestnut official.
Oh, yeah, Morris Chestnut official. So
Malcolm Jamal Warner is Malcolm Jamal War.
And then Shawnette is Shawnee Wood.
Yeah, Shawnee Wood, yeah. And again, they're all with the blue check mark. So, again, all of their accounts have blue check marks except for Jane and Bruce. And those are confirmed to be their accounts via the managers in the show. So, yes. Yeah.
The podcast itself does have a Twitter account. It's very abandoned. It's Resident Podcast, but yeah. Before we go, I will give out this information again. I want to make sure that people have it. One, Matt doesn't have social media. Period. End of story. Respect it. Emily Van Camp, managed day all. Then we have Jane.
Okay.
But
her Instagram is official Jane Leeves.
Yeah. Official Jane.
But no blue check mark, sadly.
Morris is official Morris Chestnut, or Morris Chestnut official, but it does have a blue mark on it. Then there's obviously Bruce, who just got Instagram. Well, we're very happy to see that. Everyone in the main cast, obviously, and then there's some recurring, like Jessica Meza and Tasso Feldman, and a lot of the recurring actors as well. So, and then the email is theresidentRulebreakers@gmail.com. So you can email us if you want to, if you have something you want to email us about.
If you have any suggestions for future episodes of the podcast, please message us, email us, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, whatever. But yeah, we all need to get through this quarantining
together,
coronavirus together. And so if you have any ideas of what we could talk about or whatever, hey, let's drop them. Drop the ideas. It would be awesome to hear what people want to talk about or want to hear or whatever.
And obviously we're going to be following news about how what's going to happen with reopening everything, with Georgia, with the state of Georgia where they film, with anything like that. What Fox decides once Renewal happens, when they're going to go back to production. Obviously, we'll have that information because Amy's pretty open about that stuff.
Yep.
Amy Holden Jones, who is our lovely one of our lovely creators. Again, if you have an iPhone, you can go into your podcast app, which comes on the iPhones, and subscribe to the Resident Rulebreakers. You'll always have us. You'll have, obviously, if you have an Android phone, it's on Google Play, so it's also there. SoundCloud, obviously. YouTube, if you want, subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube, The Resident Rulebreakers, and you should be able to find us and subscribe if that's the way you want to listen to us. It's just a video of the audio of the recording. That's it. There's no us. There's no video. Not yet. I am not ready for that.
Yeah, I'm in my pajamas, okay?
Yeah.
The last thing you want to be... and I need a day in the salon first before we do a live.
Okay, first off, I'm in my pajamas, like she said. My hair actually was colored right before the shutdown, so probably not that much. not that bad, but I'm wearing a messy bun and no makeup, and no, it just don't. No.
You don't want to see this.
No.
Trust us. I don't want to see this.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this week. Tune in next week to listen to us break down the season 3 finale, episode 320, Burn It All Down. And we will release on Mondays. So tune in next Monday. That's all we have for this podcast. My name is Kayla.
My name is Camille.